Sophie Cunningham owned Jacy Sheldon from the same game that Marina Mabrey did the massive body slam into Caitlin Clark on. She still owns Jacy. She still owns Jacy Sheldon. And what's great is she's got a great sense of humor about it, and she's not shy about it. I mean, what are they going to do?
Sophie Cunningham just transformed the WNBA into her own bold say it with your chest spectacle. And the punchline landed directly on Jacy Sheldon. Yes, the very same G who once got a little too handsy with Caitlin Clark during a heated game moment. This wasn't some subtle, behind-the-scenes warning. Sophie went full throttle in broadcast mode. She delivered the statement right there on the hardwood, shared it with roaring fans, and then made sure to etch it permanently in ink for the world to see. So, the real question now is simple. How much do you truly love Sophie's fearless attitude? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because from where Fever Nation is watching, this is exactly the kind of unapologetic fire the league's brightest star deserves standing right beside her.
This is kind of crazy. This one is kind of crazy. When you get Sophie Cunningham to sign a Jacy Sheldon rookie card with property of, that is crazy. That is crazy. Property of Sophie Cunningham.
Here's the truth. Most teams pretend doesn't exist. When your teammate is Caitlin Clark, a walking sellout machine, a ratings cheat code, and a magnet for every cheap shot artist carrying a grudge foof, only got two choices. Protect her, or stand around like decorative furniture while opponents treat her like an open invitation to get physical. Sophie Cunningham didn't hesitate. She chose door number 1 and slammed it shut right on their fingers. This all goes back to that circus of a game. The same one where Marina Mabrey decided to audition for special teams and absolutely Clark after the whistle. But before Mabrey's NFL tryout moment, there was Jacy Sheldon warming up with her own "Let me test the boundaries" shutter hit that had Fever fans ready to introduce her to a league-wide penalty box. If only the WNBA actually had one.
Third quarter we go. They're trailing by 10. Keep an eye on her and Jacy Sheldon. Clark trying to back her down.
Clark is okay.
Sheldon, that was Clark, hitting her in the face. Clark is upset about that. Then everybody's upset about that. Marina Mabrey comes in. She decks Clark, tempers flaring on both sides.
Sheldon, already building a quiet reputation for accidental contact that somehow always seemed to land on Caitlin Clark, decided to throw in yet another unnecessary bump. But Sophie, she didn't file it away in some complaint folder. She added it straight to her personal to-do list. Later in the game, Cunningham delivered a clean, firm reminder. The kind you still feel echoing in your shoulder blades that targeting Caitlin comes with interest attached. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't reckless. It was the basketball equivalent of saying, "We saw that, don't try it again." And then, in true Sophie fashion, she did something most players shy away from. She kept that same energy alive long after the game clock stopped shining bright.
Sophie commits a hard foul on Jacy Sheldon. Again, as Jacy Sheldon is going up for a layup, Sophie bear hugs her and takes her to the ground. What I will say is Sophie did not grab her and throw her to the ground. She didn't body slam her. She didn't do anything, in my personal opinion. Maybe I'm biased here, but I'm gonna give you guys my straight up honest opinion on this. She bear hugged her, took her to the ground. Yes, it was intentional.
Fast forward to a Fever fan event, and Sophie's in full-on community mode signing programs, posing for endless photos, and chatting it up with the diehards who arrive 2 hours early and leave with voices hoarse from cheering. In the middle of all that, a fan slides a Jacy Sheldon rookie card across the table and asks for her signature. But they don't just want Sophie, a heart, or even her jersey number. They want a statement, a stamp of approval, something bold that captures exactly what the entire building had been thinking that night.
She's the problem. She is the problem.
Sophie takes the card, flips the pen in her hand, and scrawls boldly across the front, "Property of Sophie Cunningham." That's not just a playful doodle, it's a declaration. It's her way of saying, "You want to take a shot at our star? Fine, but here's the invoice." It also doubles as a league-wide memo. There's an enforcer in Indiana, and her paperwork is perfectly in order. Sheldon, consider yourself officially and unmistakably put on notice.
Sophie Cunningham would take her rightful place as the Indiana Fever enforcer, and I believe took the first step to her becoming the second most popular player in the WNBA. Sophie Cunningham is everywhere. Arby's, walking in. She's the best looking woman walking into these WNBA arenas. I mean, Black Belt Barbie, anybody? Black Belt Barbie.
The clip hits social media like a spark to gasoline. Lexi Hull, seated right next to Sophie at the table, breaks into uncontrollable laughter while fans absolutely lose their minds. It's one of those rare, perfect moments where rivalry, humor, and raw competitiveness blend together seamlessly. The kind of unscripted energy that actually shapes a team's culture and cements a fanbase's identity. No stage lights, no brand script, just pure Sophie. Sharp-tongued, quick-witted, and crystal clear about exactly who she's sending the message to. And the best part, she didn't flinch afterward. No awkward backpedal. No, "Oh gosh, I was only joking." No notes app apology. Sophie doubled down without hesitation. That's exactly what you want from your enforcer, consistency with a little edge. Because, let's be honest, every truly great team has one. Gretzky had one. Jordan had several. Kobe had a few who gladly wore the technicals for him. Curry's got Draymond. And right now, the WNBA's most watched player has Sophie Cunningham, protector by choice, shooter by trade, and apparently a part-time notary public for rival guards.
Sophie Cunningham has been Caitlin Clark's biggest cheerleader and defender.
And it literally like pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What? When people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as You're literally dumb as.
The sad truth about this video we just watched is she is the first WNBA player I have seen to openly say this out loud, publicly, and not be ashamed in declaring it.
But here's the twist that makes this so much more than a simple tough guy routine. Sophie isn't some end of Wnba bench body just there to rack up fouls. She's producing, and producing big time. Since the break, she's been setting nets, on fire, stepping into threes like she personally owns the arc, and stacking 15, 18, even 20-point nights, while everyone else is still blinking the sleep out of their eyes. When the Fever desperately needed buckets against Phoenix, Sophie dropped 18 on command while a few teammates looked like they'd forgotten what city they were in. Enforcer energy is nice. But enforcer energy plus ruthless scoring efficiency, that's the recipe for winning games people actually remember years later.
Caitlin Clark is the reason we have been talking about the WNBA. Hate it or love it, it's true. I don't believe that Caitlin Clark necessarily wants that title that everyone has been giving to her. I think she just wants to be appreciated. And Sophie Cunningham, she just seems like such a real one, such a good friend. I think especially with women, especially elite level athletes, there's a lot of people, women, who will kind of stab you in the back. There's a lot of jealousy, a lot of resentment, especially when you're good. But Sophie just seems like such a girl's girl. I really, really like her. Maybe Caitlin Clark should do the next American Eagle campaign, or so.
So when Sophie scrawled property of Sophie Cunningham across that card, it didn't come off as petty, it felt perfectly proportionate. Fever fans roared because they knew it wasn't just about a single bump or one shove. It was about an entire season's worth of non-basketball contact finally getting a loud public return address. It was a teammate standing tall and saying, "Our star isn't running solo anymore," and saying it with permanent ink, not playful emojis or subtle hints.
And what do you guys think? Do you guys think this means anything? Like, obviously, when you get a Sophie Cunningham sign a Jacy Sheldon card, like, I think we should see that more in sports.
The dominoes couldn't have lined up any better. That autograph instantly turned into a meme. Fever fans embraced it like gospel. Clark's supporters and army at this point saved it straight to their camera rolls. Even the neutrals, tired of watching Clark get targeted night after night, nodded in agreement and hit share. And then the bigger narrative slid perfectly into place. Jacy Sheldon's young WNBA, career drafted by Dallas, rerouted to Connecticut, shipped off to Washington, had already seen its share of turbulence. But now, her biggest headline wasn't a breakout scoring night or a defensive masterclass. It was the guard who took her shot at Caitlin Clark, and the guard who got officially claimed by Sophie Cunningham.
This is hilarious. It really is. Indiana Fever star takes humorous jab at Caitlin Clark villain. You got to love an Iowa Hawkeyes wire headline. That's really good. That's Jacy Sheldon. Congratulations. That's all you're known as. The chick that was mean to Caitlin Clark. That's your legacy. I don't know what else to tell you. I mean, you've been traded, and I don't think you're much of a basketball player.
You could almost feel the cheer ripple through Fever Nation the moment that clip hit timelines. And it wasn't just about the joke hit. It was about everything the joke stood for. Team identity. Teammate accountability. A bold line in the sand that says, you don't get to make your name by taking shots at ours. That's smart basketball and even smarter business. It gives the locker room something real to rally around, gives the fans a story worth retelling, and gives opponents a reason to think twice before chasing TikTok highlights at Caitlin's expense. And that's exactly why Sophie has, without debate, become the second most beloved Fever player, right behind Caitlin herself. She's got edge without ego, swagger without silliness, and the production to back every ounce of noise. Bury the deep three, step in to take the charge, flash that grin, and then sign a rival's rookie card with a mic drop moment. That's not just a move, that's a brand, that's a role. That's the definition of a true teammate.
Sheldon, who was selected number 5 overall in the 2024 WNBA draft by the Dallas Wings, following 5 seasons at Ohio State, has quickly established herself a very negative opinion for both Hawkeye and Fever fans after her June 17th flagrant one on Clark and her eventually uncalled for knee to the right groin area during the July 15 clash in Boston as a member of the Connecticut Sun. By the way, can you stay with the team? You got selected by Dallas. You're already on your 3rd squad in 18 months. God.
Let's be completely honest. Sophie versus JC wouldn't even register as a headline if the league had actually done its job and protected its marquee attraction the way other professional leagues guard their superstars. But they didn't. And that's exactly why Sophie's autograph moment detonated like a front-page story. The history is there for anyone paying attention. Carter's blindside cheap shot, DeJesus hip check, Mabry's after whistle, body blow, and Sheldon's conveniently accidental contact with Clark. It's a list long enough to fill a highlight reel nobody asked for. And yet, time after time, the officials swallowed their whistles. The fines somehow landed on the wrong wrists, and rival guards started treating Clark like a shortcut to online clout. They weren't just playing basketball, they were farming clicks by poking the league's biggest bear.
I just think, and you know way better than me,
Yeah.
but like, it just feels like people are jealous of this new little wave of.
They are, but I just hate that because, like, this is what we've always wanted as a league. So, like, who cares who gets the credit? And if you're smart, you're making money off of them.
Yeah.
Like, you are literally making money from the viewership.
And why bully the person who is, like, not 100% responsible, but, like, has a huge role in growing your sport?
Dude, and it literally, like, pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
For Indiana Fever supporters, the JCS Sheldon episode brought an even heavier dose of irritation. We're not talking about a battle-tested veteran here. This is a bench-level role player whose WNBA resume is practically still hot off the printer, yet somehow, she's already building a bigger reputation for reckless, unnecessary fouls than for actually delivering solid performance on the court. Drafted 5th overall by the Dallas Wings back in 2024, Sheldon didn't even survive a complete rookie season before being traded away to another squad. And now, instead of improving her game, she's grabbing headlines for targeting Caitlin Clark with cheap shots that have nothing to do with genuine defensive play. That's hardly the kind of professional path you'd choose if you truly wanted respect in this league. Sophie Cunningham saw all that unfold and decided Sheldon's over-the-top tough girl routine was overdue for a serious reality check.
It was, to me, payback for what was happening the entire game. But she did it in a way that she wasn't going to injure Jacy. She was just making it known, like, if the refs aren't going to handle it, I will handle it. We'll take care of it, but this is not what you're going to do when you come into our house. It was an intentional foul. It was a hard foul. She brought her down. But with that, you guys, Jacy Sheldon got up and she was ready to go. So as you guys can see in this video, a whole scuffle breaks out. Sophie and Jacy are going after it. Both teams are running over, trying to break it up. It kind of goes into the fan section a little bit.
On the floor, Sophie is that rare breed of player who can flip the entire momentum of a game in an instant. It's not just her scoring ability that makes the difference, it's the sheer presence and attitude she brings every time she steps onto the hardwood. She's the one you instinctively watch when Clark takes a hard foul, because deep down you know payback is coming the other way. Letting things slide simply isn't in her DNA. That's exactly why that autograph event moment blew up all over social media. It wasn't only hilarious, it was a bold statement. When Sophie scribbled property of Sophie Cunningham on that item, it was her way of declaring, "This is my matchup, I control it. You're not steamrolling my teammate," without hearing from me loud and clear.
No, in the first half, the refs didn't call. Someone should have been thrown out, and the refs did not call it.
Correct. I remember that.
They didn't. And so I was like, all right.
She got full body
Shoot,
chested.
by 3 people.
Late, yeah.
Like 2 people, they're like, oh, it's fine. I'm like, if that was anyone else, I would have been booted out of the game. I know that for sure. I'm a little sassy, but like, so are they.
Your leash is shorter though, because they know.
Literally. I don't even have a leash. I just have a freaking collar and a hand on it. Anyway, so there was like 45 seconds left. The girl stole the ball and I was running back and I was like, we're up. I don't need to foul. And I was like, just let her go. And I was like, all right, like, who cares? Last second, intrusive thoughts. I was like,
and let's get one thing straight. Sophie is far from being all bark and no bite. Since the All-Star break, she's been putting up some of the sharpest numbers of her entire career. She's raining down 3-pointers with confidence, hitting double-digit scoring nights on a consistent basis, and stepping up huge when the lights are brightest and the pressure is at its peak. In those clutch moments, she's proving she's not just talking tough, she's backing it up with results that matter.
She's got all the aura right now, all of it. Got the podcast, and a damn good one. I mean, when's the next podcast drop? News is getting slow. There's got to be at least 3 or 4 good things in every Sophie Cunningham podcast.
That's why, when Sophie steps into the enforcer role, it actually carries weight. She's not some end-of-a-bench reserve making noise just to get noticed. She's a legitimate key piece, producing on the floor, setting the team's tone, and holding her teammates accountable through her own actions. In many ways, she's a modern nod to the old-school enforcers who once defined toughness in professional sports. And right now, in the WNBA, Caitlin Clark has Sophie Cunningham standing guard at her side. That protection matters, because Clark's arrival in the league has been a double-edged sword. She's injected more buzz, ticket sales, and TV ratings than the WNBA has seen in years. But that same spotlight has also made her a target for an unprecedented level of physical play. Far more than most second-year players ever face. Without someone ready to push back, the dangerous message to the rest of the league would be that Clark is open season. Sophie's making sure that message never even gets a chance to take root. And she's doing it in a way that fires up the crowd every single time. That blend of uncourt production and unapologetic, magnetic personality off the court is exactly why she's rapidly becoming one of the most beloved fan favorites in the game today.
One of the biggest stars the WNBA's ever
who's that?
Had. Her name rhymes with Schmaitlin.
Hurtland?
Yeah. What has that been like, seeing her not only kind of transform a league, but also just be like,
No,
is that fair to say?
not even just the league, but like
The
women's
sport.
basketball as a whole around the world. No, I think it's awesome. I think it's so funny because she's like 22, 23 years old and the whole world is watching her.
And the fans have reacted exactly the way you'd expect, with pure, unfiltered energy. Social media lit up instantly, flooded with clips of that autograph exchange. Hilarious memes dubbing Sophie Black Belt Barbie as a nod to her martial arts background, and even calls for new merch, stamped with property of Sophie Cunningham across it. Meanwhile, Jacy Sheldon's public image is headed in the opposite direction, and fast. Ask the average WNBA fan about her now, and the first things they'll bring up are the groin knee, that cheap foul on Clark, and, of course, getting publicly roasted by Sophie in front of the world. These moments have a way of sticking, especially in a league where the storylines can be just as captivating, and sometimes even more memorable than the stats themselves.
God, I wish we had more teammates, or I wish more teammates of Caitlin Clark would get this fired up when their transcendent superstar, who's now hurt and has missed half the games this year, has been the target, that some of the other players would get a little bit aggressive on behalf of Caitlin Clark. Get in between something. You never, this is in the NBA. Every team in hockey, Wayne Gretzky, Michael Jordan, these transcendent stars, it's always the goon, the enforcer. In this case, Sophie Cunningham, normally these guys, they're not really putting up numbers. The difference here is Sophie Cunningham is a real basketball player and a hell of a good one.
Right now, the dominant storyline surrounding Sophie Cunningham is simple. She's the enforcer who isn't afraid to check anyone who comes after her teammates. And that goes far beyond just protecting Caitlin Clark. It's about setting the tone for the entire Indiana Fever roster. There's an unspoken rule in place now. If you're wearing this jersey, you protect the stars. You don't just stand by and watch them take cheap shots. You make opponents think twice, you answer back, and you make it clear that every hit will be met with resistance. That's exactly the mentality that Fever need if they want to keep their momentum. Clark's game thrives when her teammates create breathing room, absorb the physical contact, and force defenders to hesitate before trying to body her up. Sophie fits that enforcer mold to perfection. She's the type of player whose unapologetic, fearless style not only rallies her own team but wins over neutral fans who might not watch the Fever closely, yet still respect athletes who stand their ground in a league still clawing for bigger mainstream traction. Personalities like Sophie are worth their weight in gold. And what makes this moment stand out even more is how rare this kind of public jab is in the WNBA. Sure, players get chippy between whistles, but throwing a verbal uppercut at an opponent during a public signing event, that's another level entirely. Sophie isn't just defending Clark in the heat of battle, she's actively building a reputation, a personal brand that says, "You do not mess with me or my team." That's why the Black Belt Barbie nickname hits so perfectly. It's not only a nod to her martial arts background, it's a symbol of the perfect balance. She brings skill, toughness, and an undeniable swagger. Sophie's not here to be universally adored. She's here to win games, send messages, and make sure her teammates can play their best basketball without getting bullied every night. And in doing that, she's becoming the type of player who turns moments into legends and rivalries into headlines.
You got tossed.
And it was 2-on-1. Yeah, I got tossed.
Did she?
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we're good. But so in a situation like that, does Caitlin come up to you after and say like, because the internet whole thing was, look at fucking Sophie sticking up for Caitlin, like this is dope.
But I was.
No, I know you were.
But in the locker room, I think she was like, finally, you know, like finally someone else. I was like, dude, I got you. Like it's, but I think that kind of had our team come together as a whole. And it's dude, like, no, we gotta have like it was awesome. Yeah, no, it really was though. Like I feel like everyone was like, you know, like we do have to protect each other.
And make no mistake, this moment isn't fading from memory anytime soon. When the Fever and the Sun meet again, this storyline will be front and center. Fans will have their eyes locked on every possession, waiting to see if Jacy Sheldon tries to make a statement of her own. And if Sophie fires back, you can bet every camera in the arena will be ready to catch it in high definition. Clark's safety will hang over the game like a shadow, fueling conversations from the opening tip to the final buzzer. That's the true value of having an enforcer. It changes the psychology for your opponents. It's easy to throw a cheap shot when you think there's no one who will answer. It's an entirely different calculation when you know Sophie Cunningham is standing right there, ready to make you pay for every hit you dish out. At the end of the day, Sophie didn't just shut down Jacy Sheldon, she made a league-wide statement. And given the bumps, bruises, and cheap shots the Fever have dealt with this season, it's a message they probably should have sent months ago. Now, the only question left is this: was Sophie's property of Sophie Cunningham moment the ultimate clapback? Or did it just throw gasoline on an already burning fire? What do you think? Did Sophie just solidify her role as the Wnba fiercest enforcer? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And if you ride with the Fever, smash that like button. Subscribe for more hard-hitting WNBA coverage, and ring the bell so you never miss the next big moment. This story is only heating up. Click the video on your screen right now and keep the fire going.